Well, welcome to Music is a Day Job. I'm your host, Sean, and Music is a Day Job is brought to you by the Concert app. The Concert app is an artist accelerator app. It takes artists from opener to headliner to on tour and gives the fan the best experience in independent live music. So if you're a fan or you're an artist, download right now. Download. Let's talk about a false belief in hype. I always see artists, and lately I've seen a lot of them do that, which is crazy. The false belief in hype. I see artists, they get one big show and they knock it out the park. And it's like, it might be a sellout, might be something, just something close, feels good. And then you don't see another show for another year or two. Now, see, here's what I always try to prepare artists for. When you go into doing that show, the lead up to that show, let's say you're 4 weeks out and you're starting to pump, you're starting to go crazy, starting to let people know you're doing a show. By the time it gets 2 weeks out, you need to start noticing when's the next time you're going. When's the next time you're doing this again? And a lot of people get mad at me for saying that, but that's how this works. Because if there's no follow-up with people's attention span, it just goes like this. It's a downhill. So after the show, you're now on a clock to figure out your next move. You've put yourself on the clock to be like, what's the next big move? Now, some people do it and they go like, I watch people, they do like a tour. They drop an album, do a tour, and of course their hometown is somewhere in the tour, probably at the end or the first one, and then nothing. And see, what happens is you put yourself in a space where you compare yourself to the people that do it all the time. And then when you can't recreate that feeling again, it just goes like this for you. So that's why I tell people, prepare for what you're trying to do a year out. Prepare for it, because the false belief in hype, or the false sense of self hype, or whatever it is that you want to call it, is probably one of the worst things that I watch happen to artists. Because they get into that idea that, oh, I made it. Now I ain't got to work. And see, what happens is, lately why it's a lot, because a lot of people think like, my time when I was in music, it was a lot of artists that ended up making it, that ended up being kind of successful, independent. And it was based on kind of, how would I say, like, they did it fully independent. Like myself, I booked my own shows, I did all that, and it was easy for me to like, well, it wasn't easy for me, but I figured out the consistency in it and how much I could do it and how many times I could be on tour or doing shows or something, because I got obsessed with it so much. That also could be a hindrance for some people. That's why we built this app, because we want artists to be able to do it within the app, not have to cover all the expenses, just basically work inside of a ticket structure to where they can cover some of it and then get to a point where they can start making money. Now, what happens to these artists is, I watch an artist come and like try to do the whole thing themselves. They'll do it themselves because what they feel like is, oh, I can make all this money or whatever myself, and boom, 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 boom. But what you're not thinking about is this could be the worst situation for you. So then what you're doing is you're going like, okay, I can make all this money, because if I throw it myself, I don't have to cut any promoters. I don't have to sell the tickets. Like, if I sell the tickets, I'm selling the tickets for myself, whatever like that. And then the people feel like, okay, well, I'm selling the tickets for myself, I'm making the money, boom, boom, boom. And yes, in that night, it feels good, because like, let's say you sell it out and you make $5,000 or whatever like that, and you do some good numbers or whatever, you make $7,000, then you go like, man, I'm the man, I done made $7,000 every time that. Can you replicate that at least 4 times this year? If you can't do that, then you just said it to yourself you got to ask yourself, was it worth it? Because what you're going to do is once you put yourself on that pedestal and you use nobody to do it, then what you end up getting into is you're either going to be forced to use somebody the next time. And if you don't work as hard, they're going to take you as, oh, well, you just did that for yourself. You feel what I'm saying? And then if you can't replicate that quick, your fans start going like, well, when's the next one? And now you got to do all the work again. And then all the work again. So if you're not ready to do it 4 times a year in that city and then start expanding and then do it 4 times a year in another city and 4 times a year in another city and 4 times another year, if you're not willing to do that, you've answered your whole question. And see, that false idea of that, just making that money that night and just putting on that show that night, it feels good. But you're not thinking about the next few steps. And you can actually make it worse for yourself in that situation with that belief system. Because you have to be ready to be like, yo, I can do this 4 times a year in this city, or 5 times a year in this city, or 6 times a year in this city. Because that's the only way you can make enough money to actually survive. Making $5,000 one night don't do nothing. you feeling what I'm saying? Like, you have to do it consistently. And I watch a dude do it once and I watch all like, yeah, man, I did it. I did it. I need to see it 4 more times this year. When I was telling people, I was like, out where I'm from, there's a place called the Gothic, and it holds around like 1,000 people. At one point, I was doing that place alone 4 times a year, and that didn't even count the other shows I did in Denver. I was doing that 4 times a year. I was also doing, of course, shows opening for nationals. I was doing a club that we used to go into, and we do the club on Fridays every once in a while. I was doing and so I wasn't even counting everything that I was doing just in Denver alone. Then I was doing the same. I was doing 4 shows in Colorado Springs, doing 4 shows in Greeley, doing 4 shows in Fort Collins. I'm doing 4 shows in Grand Junction. I'm doing 4 shows. I'm doing the mountain tour in the middle of the winter. I'm doing a show or 2 in Salt Lake. I'm doing a show or 2 in Arizona or something. Like, and then I'm going to California and I'm doing 1 show in San Diego, and then I'm doing 1 show in hey. The false belief can make you look at this and think I'm there, and then if you're trying to live off of it, it's different. Now, if you're saying, hey, I'm there, and then I'm going to take this to a label, and I might try to run with it, and hopefully I got that hit song, and I might have a bag behind me of 250 or 400,000, great. That might be all you need. The 1 show. Prove what you did, take it to the label, have the money, back it, make it work. If not, and you're going to say, hey, I'm going to live off this me making money, be prepared to be like, hey, I have to do this many times this year. How many times do I got to do this in this city for me to make a decent amount of money? And then how many more cities do I need? I can't sit here and just do 1 and then back off for another 6 months. It's just impossible. Like, unless you were getting paid $50,000, $100,000 in 1 show. So it's like you have to figure out how you can do it multiple times. So don't put yourself in the space if you ain't ready to do it over and over and over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I tell people to use concerts, because then you can just jump on the shows. And if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you'll constantly get shows. You can put yourself in the headline slots and start headline. Then you get on tour, and then you can start touring as much as you need to do. And then you're not fronting the money or anything like that. Fans are buying the tickets. That's what's up. That's the way I tell artists to do it, because it's so much to keep the consistency. And today the consistency is even harder, because the thing is you're going against like a lot more independent artists. The one thing that's the win is that, yeah, it's way more venues, but you're going against a lot of more independent artists. And then also like the consistency with people's lives and everything like that isn't the same. So then with the attention span dropping down with like how fans act, you have to be there like all the time to stay in front of their face. You got to stay in front of their face all the time. Now, back in the day, you might be able to pull off one show and then wait next year, do another show, and then people be like waiting for the annual event and stuff like that. Now, with people's attention span, the kid that gets in front of their face the most is going to win. That's what it is. The kid who gets in front of your face more is going to win. So definitely don't allow the hype to get to you. Don't believe the hype, as they used to say. Don't believe the hype. Stay grounded and figure out how you're going to work it and make your process consistent so you can keep winning. Oh, once again, this is brought to you by the Concert app. Now, the Concert app is in tons of states right now. So if you're in a state that we're in, you should just get on the app and definitely get on the show. Check to see, just see if slots open, get on the slot. You get the details, you're on the show. If you're a fan, definitely get on the app also so you can start supporting independent music. That's the thing to do. If we're not in your state, definitely get all the artists on there so we can see the demand, and that makes us get out there quicker. If you have venues, let us know, because that helps us get into other places so we can start helping you expand. Get on the Concert app now, like, comment, and subscribe.